Welcome everybody to Rocks and Water, the Power of Brushwork, Class 5, Part 1. You just missed a brilliant conversation. That's what the paying members get. And the people that show up. I should have pushed record long ago. You guys have so many good questions and great feedback. But anyways, we're going to jump over to our Padlet page right now. And we are just going to very quickly skim through our work and answer. You get one question and one thing only. Let's see if we can do it. And because today is mostly going to be about painting, doing some demos. I want to do some glazing and then some more direct painting on a second painting. So let's see if we can fit it all in. So I'm going to do screen share. Popping over to our Padlet. Are you guys seeing the Padlet as the main thing, or are you seeing it only as a small screen?
Small.
Main.
I see
Whole
All right, I'm gonna go back and spotlight for everyone. And
also, if everybody pins you in their little strip of pictures, you got to pin the speaker.
yeah, and up in the upper right hand corner, you get a view option as well. But a lot of times that view option will flash over to whoever's speaking, which is great. But however you want to view it. Very quickly, class videos, questions for the class. Doesn't look like anybody asked any new questions there. If you do have a question about mediums or anything that you want me to answer, this is a great spot for that. Let's all give Hassan a big thank you for posting this. This is something, again, I never had even thought to do. This is like the directory of my class videos organized. I could literally now go and free up a lot of space on our Padlet with this. I really appreciate that, Hassan. And now for all of you who want to go back, you know, and I guess if you, yeah, anyways. This is fantastic, and look at how much stuff we've shared. Wow. Well, wait, I know what you guys are doing.
Thank you, Hassan.
That does not include getting out into sunlight. It's all YouTube all the time. Anyways, thank you, Hassan. That was fantastic. Last week, Cheryl, was that you that mentioned the Joe's Prime Linen? I also put links to them there if you're interested in investigating linen, which has a different texture than cotton, much more enjoyable, a little more expensive, but linen is held in higher regard by collectors and galleries than canvas. Class handouts. There's no new handout this week. I gave you guys all 4 pages last week. We went through them. Reference photos. I appreciate you guys continuing to share. So next week we're going to start on rough water. So I was thinking that I would be doing like waves, surf, you know, crashing on rocks, all of that. I'm going to plan to do it in acrylics and then build up to oils, I think. I may be over promising because I would like to also do waterfalls. Our classes are just not long enough. So I may do an acrylic painting of rocks and surf and something of a waterfall as well. Who here, I can't really see you guys, all of you. Let's see if I can change that. There we go. I can see you guys. Raise it of hands. Who here would like to see a waterfall paint?
I would.
I don't know if you can see us, but
I can, yeah, no, I was able to figure that out. Who here would like to see waves and rocks and rough surf?
Yes,
I want to see it all.
All right, your work will...
I'd like to see it all, yes.
All right, so I'm going to try my darndest to paint 2 underpaintings in acrylic next week. So again, it's not going to be a lot of feedback time, right? Even with a 3 to 4 hour class, it's just not enough time to do everything. And what I'll probably do even is give you the handout, not go through it because that takes a lot of time. But I will talk through it while I'm painting.
That sounds good.
And I will look for a waterfall painting and a crashing surf. I want to do something kind of rough and tumbly and, you know, not just that generic, perfectly cresting surfer's wave. I just find those boring and trite. And we just don't get those in Oregon. But I like the energy. I really want to talk about the energy, the crashing. There's so many videos. If you guys want to learn to paint one of those perfect C-shaped, you know, surf waves, there's lots of videos you can find on YouTube. But again, I just find them boring. I think that they reek of early 90s, late 80s paintings. And yeah, I mean, if I was showing in Hawaii or maybe Southern California, I might have an audience for that, but I don't, and I'm just not that interested in it. So I apologize to Sandy, you know, who lives in perfect Hawaii with beautiful waves. We just don't get those. But in Hawaii, even the surf is usually more rough and less, you know, you don't get those beautiful surf spots unless you really go to 2 or 3 different spots on the island, right? No, you're mute. There you go. What's that?
These usually aren't perfect.
No, and I like the energy more. I'll definitely, you know, appreciate a good, clean wave when I see it, but I just don't see them that often. And my audience isn't surfers and boogie boards and stuff. So, maybe I'll go out, reach after them later. But anyways, I want to do just kind of crashing, rough and tumble and just kind of in your face energy. And then for the waterfall, we can do something a little more refined, a little more beautiful. So anyways, keep sharing these photos. These are beautiful, you guys. I love that. And you guys do not have to do both. You can decide, you know, you only have 2 weeks. If you want to try to do both, you can. If you want to try to do what I'm going to do, I'm going to probably use either burnt umber and white or black and white as my underpainting in acrylic. So if you want to try this technique, and what I will do is probably pre-prime the canvases with acrylic paint. I found if I use gray gesso and then go over it, that wherever it's gesso absorbs the oil paint differently than where it's acrylic. So I found that by pre-painting the whole surface with a mid-gray acrylic paint, that really helps. So when I show up next week, I'll have 2 pre-acrylic paintings.
How many
Right.
coats?
Often just 1 is enough because I plan to cover most all of it again anyways. But it just acrylic absorbs differently than gesso. Gesso is definitely much thirstier. So if I'm going to use like a glazing technique on it, Michelle, it will just look different. It will have absorbed differently. If I decide to do a little bit of wiping away of the oils over the top of those acrylics, the parts that are just gesso won't wipe away as much, where the oils have that little bit of a plasticky thing. The other thing is when I come back in with oils over acrylics, I'm not a big fan typically of medium, but I will add at least 5% medium, and that's due to, I don't know who sent me the link, but I actually went to and read about, you know, the best way to build acrylics over oils, and you want at least 5% medium for a little bit of flexibility and bond to the acrylics.
You said acrylics over oils.
Oh, I meant the other. Thank you for correcting me.
Okay.
Very, very important. Oils over acrylics only. Never ever acrylics over oils. Okay. Painting examples. Keep sharing those. Stupid instructor paintings. All right, so stop me as I'm skimming across, Cheryl or Diane Lewis, if you have any big questions that are holding you back. Otherwise, I'm going to
Yes, Cheryl has questions.
All right, question singular. Oh,
I
you're
started
muted.
this. It's about halfway done. However, I discovered that the color that I made this background blended too much with the leaves that are on here, and it's hard to get this yellow brighter. So anyway, I pushed it back, And but it's a sunny day and I'm not really sure exactly how to make that look sunnier back there. It was yellow and that's what blended in with everything. These leaves can be darker.
Okay. Yeah, so you hit on one thing, right? With light, we have light
Yeah.
and dark. What else do we have?
Contrast? No.
Yeah, no, yes, okay, yeah, exactly. Contrast, but light and dark is one form of contrast. What are our other forms of contrast?
Colors. Chroma, yeah.
Chroma and temperature. So it doesn't only have to be light and dark, which you're really playing up, but you want to play with the warms and the cools as well. So you did do the hill a little lighter. You can also do it a little cooler, a little bluer. If you want to push that back, you can bring some really dark blues and purples into your leaves, and then the warmer, lighter leaves will feel all the more special. So yeah, within contrast, within like a strong sunny day, you have value contrast, lights and darks. You have temperature contrast, warms and cools. And then you're also going to have edge quality, which you've already done a good job. Like you've kept your hill really soft. You're making your leaves a little more pronounced. But like, I don't know if this is a leaf or a hill, right? You want to.
Well, I need to go back over all the leaves and the branches again, because I've been painting over top of them, some of them. So.
Perfect. And that's what's so great about acrylics and oils, is that, yeah, this just needs your second coat. You know, now you come back in and you are a little more purposeful and you adjust things and you bring those out. Careful that the shape of your hill and the shape of the leaves on this branch.
Right, I have to get that.
Break that up. Also, the bank hits the tree and fully stops. I would either bring some of this beyond here, or take a little bit of this bank and let it show through a little bit in here.
Okay.
You just don't want those are called tangents, right? Where
all right,
you also have a tangent of this branch and this tree having exactly the same line. And it's funny, right? A lot of those things are in your photos. So we have to be aware. You have to kind of just skim your eye through the whole image and just say, you know, literally like, okay, are there tangents? Are there value shifts? You know, so I'll just literally say, okay, tangent, tangent, tangent. I'm looking for tangents. Okay, this bank stop, you know, the ground stops right at the tree and then becomes a bush.
okay.
And it looks like, you know, different paintings, these tangents up in this area. And I get it because you went back in and painted the blue sky over the top. So that's great. But that's what's so nice about acrylics is within 15 minutes, I can come back in and cut that space.
And I think I'm going to ditch the red bushes. I felt like I needed some more color in there, but it doesn't feel right.
They can be reddish, but I think it looks like you're about to make a pattern, like another green one, another
Yeah,
red.
yeah, that too. One of them's got to get covered up somehow.
Yeah, but it can be reddish, right? If you just put some green or yellow across the top and made them harmonize a little bit. I mean, yes, it's nice that you have a little bit of a focus so the eye moves around. I also wonder if this maybe wouldn't have been better as a horizontal versus a vertical. Yeah, I like what you're doing. I love the transparency in the rocks. That's my favorite spot in this painting right now. I think you really did a great job on that.
Thank you.
I think you're in a good spot, and I think you are knowledgeable enough that you know what to do. Yeah, anybody have a quick bit of advice there?
I think you covered it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Diane Lewis, how we doing? You golden, or you got any questions? If you don't unmute, you're very easy to ignore. Sorry, Diane.
Really pretty.
It looks great. Yeah.
Rings and water on the right side of the painting looks stupid to me. And I don't know I don't get it. Like, is there variation of tones within the ring? Because I don't see it in the photo. It just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, so that is a really great question, and a lot of us are gonna get this, right? Again, if you can see the bright sky, the highlights in the sky and the highlights in the reflection, what happens to the shadows is they just get blacked out, right? If we can see the detail in the shadows, that
Mhm.
generally means our sky and bright reflections are getting bleached out. So if you're only counting on one photo and no other reference, Diane,
Yeah,
you're gonna get this. Look at how black and dark this is. That's just not
Yeah.
realistic. It's lifeless. You got great
Yes.
shape, you got good forms, but it's lifeless. Like it just
okay,
isn't interesting. It just, yeah, dark is just boring. It's I feel like oftentimes with even really great paint, I don't want to say even really great painters like you, Diane, that oftentimes in the darks and the shadows, that they just leave it alone, but there's so much beauty in this area. And so what you can do if it's a digital photo that you took, is you
yes,
can adjust it. So, you know,
Okay.
print this one out or whatever, and then do a copy on your phone or your computer, and then adjust it and turn up the light or the you know, down the contrast. And if it's a good digital photo, all of a sudden all this detail is gonna start to come out, and also
okay,
these transitions are gonna start to pop out. And
okay,
again, oftentimes you guys, when I'm working, I will have 3 to 4 different versions of the photo that I'm, you know, one to see into the shadows, one to see into the highlights, one to see into the midtones, and then I will often have a black and white version to give me my shapes and values, my structure.
wow. I don't have a color printer, so I just deal with my, you know, my phone or, but I can, yeah, that's a good idea to go within the phone and change it up. So I'll try that. Oh, okay. So back to the, so that would solve the rings. I would see more nuance in the rings in the water.
Are you talking about these little gray areas?
Yes.
I don't know exactly what I'm looking at. What's causing this?
I think it's going around in circles because it's hitting. I mean, this is my area that I haven't finished, but that's a dock area. That's the land that it's hitting. I think that's why it's circling.
All right. I'm gonna
But yeah, it looks stupid.
I'm gonna ask Michelle real quickly, because you're my longest term student, and Linda, both of you guys. What am I about to say to Diane about this area?
It sucks. Excuse me.
Well,
No, that was perfect. That was exactly it. No, I'm just kidding. No,
No.
when in doubt,
go without
Leave
doubt.
it.
yeah.
Leave it out.
Oh, that would be
There's so
so
many
much
times
easier.
in paintings where, you know, my photos, again, we accept photos, but we question paintings, right? If you don't know why
Yes.
something's happening,
Yes.
viewer of your paintings extra not gonna know why that's happening in your painting.
Yeah.
So if you can't, like, maybe a duck just swam off screen here, you know, maybe a
Right.
frog jumped in, maybe, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
So many things. So a lot of times, again, just like I did with Cheryl, I'm gonna skim my eye through the reference, I'm gonna skim my eye through the painting. And just say, when in doubt, take it out. If it's not helping, Michelle.
It's hurting.
Leave it out.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. That's helpful because I'm just like, oh, all right.
No, absolutely. We are not slaves to our photos. Our photos
Yes, I
are
am.
something off point. No, you're not. You're not. You have your artistic license. I gave it to you last term. You've got it in your wallet. I know. I'm surprised it's not on a little string around your neck. It's okay, I'm an artist. But yeah, you can just, if you don't know, don't put it in.
Okay.
If it makes sense in the photo, it's
Yeah.
twice as bad in your painting.
That
Yeah.
might come from something in the clouds as well.
Yeah.
Overhead, there's a lot of dark in those clouds overhead, so it may have something to do with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Very helpful advice. Thanks so much.
Real quick, last question. What is the focus of this painting?
Oh, be quiet.
Perfect
As
answer.
far as I can, I just love the clouds, the way the diagonal, it pulls your eye in. I don't know. I guess it's the the design that the clouds make on the water and I don't know.
It's got a beautiful design. You've got radiating lines down here, you've got diagonal lines here, you've got horizontal and perpendicular lines here, you've got curved lines, like there's a lot of interesting things. My eye definitely moves through the piece. That's the only problem with these 1 minute critiques is, I don't have time to be nice.
Yeah.
But a lot of goodness here. It's definitely worth continuing on with.
Mhm.
But yeah, don't make more work for yourself. Simplify, simplify, simplify.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
And this is for my work or anybody's. In water like this, where you've got a busy cloud structure in the sky reflecting in the water, to me, on the left-hand side, it
Mhm.
the water doesn't look flat as water would look. And I've seen that in lots of paintings. How do you flatten your water out?
I drag horizontally and then drag drag vertically and then drag horizontally. So this will create our reflections, and then this will create the form of the water. Also, it doesn't read as too flat to me, but also this part of the water is reflecting the sky we're not seeing. It's reflecting
Right.
the dome. So a lot of times this will either be darker or more transparent or a little bit warmer sometimes, like you might see slightly below it. So yeah, sometimes I will just go back, even though it's not in the photo at all, and I'll just darken the water and let it get a little lighter as it goes back. Or I will warm it up with just a little glaze of like a umber or a transparent earth red, and it appears like all of a sudden we can see the earth. Plus that'll kind of darken the water anyways, because you've got blue and brown mixed together. Yeah, literally you're gonna see that in both the paintings I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna leave that one there and we'll come back to that question, but great question. And it is a difficult thing. It was actually my mother-in-law, who's one of the least artsy people, but most opinionated people I've ever met. And she's always got something to say about my paintings, which I really like. And a lot of times I really like hearing that completely outsider view. A lot of times I ignore it, but sometimes I'm like, holy crap, you're so right. Because she's not seeing my reference, she's just seeing my paintings. Right? And she said, I like it when you darken the water at the bottom. It makes it feel like it's coming towards me more. And I was like, boom, thank you. Where were you the last 3 years?
Okay, thanks, everybody. Very helpful.
I'm skimming across. I know Gail, Donna, do you have any quick questions? You gotta unmute.
You're muted.
Donnie, your work's beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, there, no, I have not been able to do anything this week because I've been.
Oh, that's right. So we looked at this last week. All right, great. I still look forward to.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Alexa, don't join my class for free. But what I would do, get in there and simplify your sky.
Can you hear me?
Harmonious. Yep, we can hear you.
Here's your contact info.
Oh my gosh.
AI has gone crazy.
It's
Alexa, what's our credit card information?
No, I didn't have anything because I've been working on the commission this week.
Perfect.
I love
All
the
right,
colors.
Gail, you had a question. This is the one I said to burn, but I don't actually think you can burn it. Oh, no. There we go.
I'm asking if I need to add some highlights to the pine trees and to that little, the darker side on the right.
No, definitely not down here.
What about the pine trees?
That's a little more, my trick is I put some warm colors in there a little bit because but where's your light source? It appears to be coming from the right and hitting the back. Right back. So yeah, maybe just a touch. You know, and I'm such a huge fan of toplit things. That, you know, you could have like a shadow of this hill coming and just the tops maybe getting a little bit. I do find this area wanting a little something, unfortunately. And it might, this is being nitpicky here, Gail, but look at this spacing is almost perfect.
Okay,
And it
Mhm.
becomes a little boring. I would almost, you know, I know 4 is worse, or maybe like a bit of a, you know, a dead one, or you don't know, or maybe bind these a little bit, like they're a little fuller at the base. I don't know, but I do find this obviously is a focal point because there's, you know, dark against light, that, you know, everything's leaning us towards it, and they're a little bit boring.
okay,
It's kind of like, you know, again, we're leading the viewer through the painting, and then here's your payoff. Oh, that's not that great. It's like a movie that you watch 3 hours and then it ends, you know, it's like, wait, that was the end?
Okay.
Right? So we want to have a little bit of a payoff, whatever that is. Your clouds are gorgeous. I love this. It reminds me of my good buddy Don Bishop's work. Beautiful desaturated greens, and you know, there's a lot to love here. But I do find this area, and I don't have a good answer, but I do find this area wanting.
okay.
Anybody else agree or disagree with me?
Yes.
I
agree.
I agree.
Maybe a few, like a few trees, because they wouldn't just grow in a row. Maybe there's a few behind them.
That's what I was thinking. I can put some grayer ones behind them, maybe.
Yeah.
That
And
one
then-
in the middle could be coming front.
I think the lighting is different. The
The lighting-
lighting on the left side and the lighting on the right side just looks like two different places, but maybe there are like big trees to the right that are blocking the light.
Yeah, that's how I'm seeing it, is that these are being kind of angly lit, you know,
Mhm.
it's kind of creeping down. And then, yeah, I see this is all in shadow. That's why I was saying, don't lighten this up unless you'd have to lighten it all up and make it coming across. But then I'm wondering, yeah, maybe these trees can be catching a little bit of that light
Okay,
that these would be, and yeah.
Would she need a little more darkness in the, on the left, just in odd little triangular places? You know how triangles are always darker?
I personally wouldn't. What I would do maybe is, instead of darkening it, is cooling it.
Okay,
Because what you
Mhm.
have here is a lot of atmosphere. You've got soft edges up here, so that tells us there's a bit of a haze and a fog. If you just went to dark, all of a sudden that destroys this idea of haze and fog, because let's
Mhm.
just say I put as dark here, here,
Yeah, that wouldn't
it's
work.
all of a sudden gonna come forward.
not that dark, not as dark as on the right.
Right, yeah, I mean, maybe a touch, like you have the dark here, so you maybe a touch darker, but maybe also a touch cooler.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What about on that cloud, right, kind of in the middle? Like, would she need just a, like a offset of a little, one speck of something lighter?
I'm always hesitant to do specks or, you know, little spots anywhere, because if you put a dark speck here, all of a sudden it becomes the focal point.
No,
Mhm.
Or-
light,
yeah,
light,
or a
light,
white-
light.
A white one would do the same.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you have to decide where, even if it's in the photo, like this cloud was exceptionally bright for some reason. If that's not where you want us to get to
Okay.
and what it's
I
about,
see.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, again, you know, it's gonna be different for all of us. Some of us are more, you know, journalistic, some of us are more poetic. We all know enough about Gail and her work now to know that she definitely leans towards the more poetic side, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So then you really, in poetry, it's less is more,
Mhm.
right? It's
Mhm.
keeping it simple. And it is, you know, what can you do to tell? And then also your work's just not showy, it's not splashy, it's not, you know, high vibrancy, it's not high chroma, it's not high contrast. So yeah, like Linda, your work is got a lot more color and a lot more, you know, motion and movement and angels. And so yeah, you know, we're all different. You know, Regini is more of a colorist, you know, in a lot of her work. Sandy's more of a colorist. So I try to give advice that's universal, but at the same time leaning towards kind of the work that I think you want to go towards. So yeah, good question
That's
though.
great.
And Linda, that is great feedback. Like, I think that that's totally worth like exploring and saying. And but that's the nice thing, especially if your painting's dry, is you can put down a little bit of brighter, a little bit of darker, a little bit of cooler. And if the painting's dry and you put it on there and you're just like, you can wipe it back off. So,
I think the clouds and the water are beautiful.
right.
Thank
I
you.
wouldn't
Yeah.
change anything, just
I think so too.
maybe add a branch in and a few highlights in there and
Yeah, and I wouldn't make this like bright red or Indian yellow or anything.
No.
I would just,
No,
a
I
little
do have a little bit of, I did put a little lavender in there to cool things, some areas down. I mean, I know it's hard to see, but there's lavender in there. And I did
You
something.
can see it in your down here too, which I really like. I love the fact that it's not just a green line, you got these little reds, lavenders, yellows. You can see some of it sinking under the water a little bit.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you make pond slime beautiful, Galen.
And then
Alright.
the one that we were talking about last week is below it, and I did finish the water, but left it up one there. So I did
Alright.
finish the water, but otherwise I left it alone.
Yeah, I love this area so much, and I love the dissipated lines, and I appreciate it. I think your gallery is gonna love you.
I hope so.
Thank you very-
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Get their phone number and we'll just start calling them, telling them they need to do Hassan, any quick question for me at all, bud?
Yeah, with the reflection, if you could, give me quick feedback, then I'll probably ask.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you've just got the design and values in it. Doesn't look like you've actually started coloring it at all. You're gonna get, some of those hints of color in there a little bit. And then, this is such a good example of what I wish I was painting today. Because I love that it's got the transparency, it's got the rocks on top, the rocks underneath. And you can see how they just dissipate back. This is gonna come down to straight observation, Hassan, of what color, what value, you know what I mean? Because we'll start thinking like, okay, here's a rock, it does this, here's another rock, it does, the same thing, but it's actually very, very different. Like, see this big rock above the water, it's got of course, the drier part. And also the shadow is much stronger and much darker, even though it's a very dark blue. But look at here, the shadow underneath this rock is much more just straight blue, right? And then we get back here and it just, you eventually just stop seeing it. That's in the highlights, the sky reflection. And then in here, it's, just a different color palette. More browns and more brownish greeny colors, I guess. Depends. This is where it's tricky, and this is where you're literally just going to be, especially if you're kind of copying the photo, which is a great exercise to do. It's just, what actually am I seeing? What value is this? Really dark? No, it's only slightly darker than this, but this is not very dark, the shadow line under the rock. So it really does come down to observation. I can really see you getting a lot of that. So now it just comes down to actually getting some paint on this thing. I think that you set yourself up for success.
I tried to put under layer.
Easy
with,
and
like-
affordable.
Sorry, probably didn't hear that.
That was somebody's device talking to you.
Okay, sorry. So I tried to do the underpainting also. That is also the rocks underwater.
Yeah,
But when I
perfect.
try to glaze with water, the color of the water, then I don't know, it probably wasn't transparent enough. So all the rocks were pretty much gone. So I have to reintroduce that. But
Yeah, 'cause,
struggling.
Our idea would be oh, water's blue, so let's just glaze blue over everything, but that's not going to work in this, right? It's blue over this area, it's brownish, and even a darker brown over here. So there's, you know, the glazing technique's wonderful for a lot of things, and it will probably work really well in the blues. Over here, it's gonna get a little trickier, And what happened here is you have a wipe away painting and or direct painting. It looks like two different paintings. So now how do you make the top and the bottom feel like they were painted by the same artist at the same time? So, you know, you can use some of that wipe away and preserve some of that if you want to, but it's gonna be a matter of bringing down now some color, some paint, and observation. It sounds like such a cop-out as a teacher, right? Like not telling you, here's the secret to doing this, but the secret really is observation and then, you know, kind of getting that idea. I think you're just gonna have to start painting, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I have
sure.
a question.
Yep.
So if he, on the right side, for example, had done his underpainting and then glazed sort of the brownish green color on top, and it lost a lot of the detail, from a technique standpoint, do you go through, you glaze, and then you go back on top with just more paint, essentially, and more observation?
Yeah, you're gonna see me do that here in our first painting, our first demo. I'll do that. So I'll answer these questions and more in our, but wait, there's more.
I just wanted to say about the colors on the greens on it, either side of the stream.
Yeah, I tried to like make one warm, one cool. Not sure how successful was it, but yeah, that was my idea. On the right side is like sunlit part. On the left side is more of a like shadow cool part.
It's kind of that, but I think the light, this is a tough one to even figure out where the light is, right? It's behind us
From the left,
from the left.
hitting the right shore.
Yeah, so midday photos. This is probably taken at about 11 or 12 in the day, like almost midday. Are tough because you don't have real, I mean, you do have good shadow structure, but a lot of things kind of seem to flatten out and stuff. Yeah. Let's just see if I am able to answer your questions in the demo. I'm gonna just go ahead and just say, does anybody else, because I want to get going here. Does anybody else have an emergency question that you're just stuck?
Just, no, look at mine quick, please, and just, it's of the Adirondacks when the, all of the flowers are blooming and water's still melting in the mountains, and
Okay, and no reference.
no reference because it came from my head. But
Quit that.
All right, now we get into psychology and psychiatry. All right, Linda.
Yeah,
looking
well,
into your head.
and it's in my head, and I walked up this hill, like it took me an hour and a half to get up this mountain, so it wasn't that big, but it always was beautiful, and it had water, and I could sit on a rock right here on the right hand side and sit right in that little crevice and put my feet in the water.
Beautiful.
Why didn't
Great
you take a
memory.
picture?
Well,
All right.
it's 25 years ago, so
Oh,
and it's in a box somewhere. It's in a box in my big purple container outside.
You're always testing me and pushing me. All right, Linda. What's my first question?
Where's the focal point?
That'd be my third, probably.
Oh, okay.
Light.
The light.
Light. The light is not
Horizon line.
Yeah, first would be horizon line generally, but that's not as important, and we know that it's kind of probably here. But what is the light? Where is the light in this painting?
The light is coming over the top of the mountain.
In front, behind, beside?
Behind the trees, behind the trees.
Behind the trees. Okay, so if it's behind, that means things are being silhouette lighting, right? Side, back lighting.
Yeah.
That means that what we're looking at with these flowers is the shadow. You might get a little bit of rim lighting on them.
Yeah.
That means this is all in shadow if the light's behind it. So that's what's not reading. The only thing that's kind of telling me that is that you have the lighter leaves behind it. which is
Yeah,
nice.
I started doing that. I know I still have to work on it. So these need to be darker, bluer, paler, but they
Yeah,
were,
or these need to be brighter. It could be kind of overcast, soft light, but you're
Yeah.
gonna want to tell us, what's in shadow, what's in light. Some of these rocks are beginning to tell us. The water does not tell us. The trees do not tell us. The only thing that's telling you right now is this. All right, this is one of my first questions on my list, on Linda's list. I hope she's been making. Who designed this forest? It is
God.
perfectly.
God did.
I know, I could tell. I would know this Linda painting from anywhere because you love to organize your forest. You organize your swamps. Look at the spacing. It's like musical bars.
But see, there's a tree in the background, and here's one that's leaning. There used to be one that would lean across this whole thing, but I thought that would be ugly if I put him across them. We had to walk under this tree until it finally fell after about 5 years. It was caught in the tree limbs overhead.
Yeah, so anyways, very, very organized. It looks like somebody literally planted them kind of in a row. If I look at the negative spacing, it's
Yeah,
very,
I
very
know.
rhythmic. And at a certain point, I'm just gonna stop pointing that out to you and just go, you know what? That's Linda's brain. That's Linda's style, that she just gets in there and organizes nature for all of us.
You ought to see my dresser drawers. They're all perfect.
There you go. Yeah, but that would be my feedback for that, Linda.
Okay.
Actually, the left-hand corner where the trees are actually pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over in this whole area, yeah. This is
Yeah,
perfect.
it was all things that had gotten knocked over in storms and winds that come through in the winter and with heavy snow on it. And there was this little tree on the right it came across and met these on the left that's leaning over, and we walked under it in the trail. There was a trail, like these rocks here were what we climbed to get up the mountain.
beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I love,
I'm still working on it.
yeah.
So
No.
can I put little trees behind it, can I line them up between each of all of those nice spaces I have there?
Yeah, but what you're gonna do is put them right in the middle of each one.
I know. Oh, Michael, how could I change that?
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we have to challenge Linda to only paint from reference.
Reference,
Yeah, didn't we try that once?
Yeah, it lasted a
Yeah.
week.
it doesn't work too often, though.
I know, and then the next week, I had this dream.
I know, it's so easy.
An angel told me.
Yeah.
That's right. I saw angels in the sky last night. If anybody saw my photos, you saw my angels in the sky.
That's awesome.
I look at the shadows in the lower right.
Yeah, the rocks in the lower right, that's pretty.
It's really
Is that a stream, Linda? Is that stream coming from the left?
It's a mountain stream, and it just came from way up the mountain and all the way down to the bottom, and it would trickle stronger in places because I think, just runoff from the different levels of the mountain as the snow was melting. And it wasn't anything that was it didn't look like this every time we went. This was like when the flowers were first blooming, and first time we trek up the mountain. But by the end of summer, it was like just a clear little pools of water in these places on the rocks.
And it looks like your little pool, because I can see where it is on the rocks on the right.
Yeah,
But where your signature is,
yeah.
that corner going kind of angling up, that looks like a bank to me, like that's part of your pool.
It was you could walk on one side of the stream, but not on the other side. The left side we could not walk up because it was too unsteady, unstable. It was muddy, and the rocks sometimes were just full of slushy mud.
Yeah, so Linda, for the next couple of paintings that we're gonna do in class, I am gonna ask you to paint from a reference so that I can kind of give you feedback, because you just say, help me paint my memory or my, my vision. It's tough. As a critique, it's hard to say,
Right.
you know what, in your memory, this is actually open, and you know what I mean? So just to help us all to have a point of
Reference.
reference, the point that we can communicate with you. I'm definitely never, ever, ever gonna urge you to stop painting, you know, your Linda beautiful paintings and, you know, your dreams and your memories and your, you know, all the things. Keep doing that. But what I want to help you with is to give you tools to make those paintings better. So for the next couple paintings, figure out a reference that we can communicate with. And then I can go, yeah, okay, here's the light source. Here's the, you know, you don't have to paint it, you know, exactly, but I need to have something to reference it from a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just like having a point to have a conversation with you with.
All right.
It is a beautiful painting. All your paintings, I love them. They're very, yeah, I mean, you know, I love you, you know, I love your work. But I just want to help you to get a couple more tools. And have you ever written like these notes down, like the whole, like, okay, let's let nature be natural. Let's, you know, first thing, where's my light source? Second thing, where's my horizon line? Third thing, write those down and make a checklist. All of you guys have your own issues and own things that you're working on. It is imperative to literally be critiquing yourself and just asking these questions at the beginning of the painting, in the middle of the painting, and as you finish the painting, go back and just say, okay, Michael's gonna ask me this, or, you know, Linda Morgan's gonna, you know, point this out about the colors, you know, whatever it is. So as we are looking at your work, as you're looking at your own work, as you're looking at the work of others, start writing your own personal checklist. Because again, we will all fall into our own ruts, sounds like a bad word, but habits. There we go, habits. We all have our own things, like, you know, just like me, I let my paintings stay too thin. I'm a little too stingy with my paints. So for me, one of my checklist items is, do you have texture? You know, it doesn't have to be all textural, but I want texture in my painting. Do I, you know what I mean? So yeah, write your checklist.
I have books.
You know what?
I have books. that
Sorry,
I-
you guys can get mad at Linda, but you guys have more homework this week. Everybody write this down. Your homework is to write down a personal 5-item checklist. And you can just cheat from me if you want. If you want to write, where's my horizon line? Where's my light source? What is my painting either about, or where's the focal point? And then you can choose your other two. You know, for me, again, it's texture and having more interesting brushwork. Whatever it is, you know, are my colors reading? Do my temperatures, you know, do I have warms and cools? Do I have lights and darks? Whatever it is that you want to work on, but post that on your Padlet, 5 to 10 item checklist. I've also provided a checklist in the handouts. So if you just want to take that somewhere in here.
Sorry, my Alzheimer's kicked in. And so it's horizon, light source, focal point, and what was the other?
It's for you, you know, subject or focal point. There's so many different things you could use, you know, if you just find, oh, I paint everything in, you know, like I do a lot of times, everything's in gold and orange. Oh, if I had some cools, so warms and cools.
Where were those
bleached out, or whatever challenge. Each painting may be a different challenge for yourself, but it's really,
I have 1, 2, 3, but what were the other ones I'm writing?
I have books of notes from Michael's classes.
yeah, so just make a checklist.
But there is a handout somewhere. We'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it. It's in the lesson. But it was horizon line, light source. What is your focal point, or what
Here
you're
it is, self-critique.
Yeah.
Right, so this is in the handouts. This is just one that I built for myself, right? And I probably need to go back and change it because by looking at this. So for me, it's theme, idea, concept, right? So I do this when I'm being good. Do as I say, not as I do, right? It's always my advice as a teacher. When I'm being really good and when I want, this is actually a shortcut, even though it feels like a long cut, right? This will help your painting because we like painting, we don't like fixing. To not fix, we want to make good choices at the beginning of painting. Well begun is half done, right? All those things. So mine is, what is the theme, idea, or concept? So for Linda right there, it was a memory, right? That's a tough thing, right? It's the memory of this beautiful creek, da 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 da. So it's, what is it? So, also, what's the theme, Linda? What do you want us to feel when you're looking at it, right? What's the emotion? So what do we wish to communicate? This affects every other decision, the subject, the mood, the palette, and the composition. So this is a big one, right? And I'll literally write this down, right? I'll give myself, and I can be doing this while I'm just looking at my references. This will also help me to select good references, right, Linda? If I was painting that memory, but I knew that I wanted a melancholy, sweet sadness to it, right? Then I choose my palette accordingly, right? What does that palette mean to you? Or if I really wanted it to be, inspirational and idealized, again, it's gonna have a different palette and different feeling. So then I check my design and composition. This is where I get myself in the most troubles. When my paintings don't work out, it usually comes down to design and composition. I just get too excited and I'm just like, I'll figure it out. I just start painting. But design and design and composition is 70% of your painting. If it takes 70% of your time, that's 70% of your time well spent. But this is the least fun for so many of us, right? Color and brushwork is what we all love, and I get it. So I'm just like you guys. That's why I made this, to remind myself. This is very important. This design, this is everything else. Design and composition is going to come about because of theme, idea, and concept. Right?
And design and competition would also include watching out for tangents and things, right?
Yeah, thank you. Good. Yeah.
Can I ask,
go ahead.
can I ask a question? Do you like to draw, Linda? What if you drew out some of your memories?
I do. I love to draw, and I have books of drawings and things too. But I always draw with my brush when I start, and I used to draw no-tans and to scale and 5x7, 8x10. I used to.
Well, I was just thinking if you had a memory to sketch out your memory, and capture the memory the best you can separately, and
keep
then
it separate.
when you're
Don't
looking
hang
at
over the top of it.
Yeah, and then when you're looking at your memory in sketch form, maybe go through this checklist and make some of those changes then when you transfer that sketch to your canvas.
Yeah,
Very good.
Maybe an extra step, but it may help you solidify those memories.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, Linda is just like me. She's this eternal optimist. That I have a good idea.
Impulsive.
Start painting, it's gonna work out. Yeah.
And without her organization, she's a very impulsive spirit. It just kind of puts forth.
That is an interesting mix of human traits you have there. You're organized and impulsive.
Yes. If I don't like it, I'll change it later.
There you go.
Go back and add more trees and add more of that bright yellow light shining through it.
But I like it when it works out. I like it when I designed it, got those things laid in, and then I can just go, you know what I mean? Then that part of my brain is free to focus on the fun part now. Now I get to the color and the brushwork and other things. Like that's what I'm actually nervous about the second demo, if we ever get to it, is that I am a little bit, I don't know exactly how to do it. Like that's what I was telling my friend who was staying with us, is like, I was like, I want to introduce transparency to this painting, but my photo reference has no transparency in it. And why does it not? Because of the light source and the shadows and everything else. But I want that because I want to teach you guys about it. So how do I, so anyways, if I wasn't painting it in class, I would probably figure that out a little more. Whether that means finding better references or working it out in sketches or doing a small painting on the side. Whatever that is. All right. But anyways, you guys see it. I'm not going to read through this and talk about it.
Thank you guys for all the good information. It helps me. And thank you, Michael. And I don't know why I'm coughing.
As long as you're not crying.
I'm okay.
I'm not crying. My eyes are just sweating. So anyways, beneath that, you guys, are a whole bunch of other questions. So you can look through those and see if any of those, like, oh yeah, I need to work on that. So I gave you a whole list of them. And then below that, I literally wrote out when my paintings are the most successful. Like when I'm in a time crunch, this is my order of events that leads me not to 100% success. I'll never ever get there. But I've improved my odds if I just slow down and do these steps. So yeah, very useful. Let's see if I can just quickly drag it to the top. And I am just gonna cut off our feedback at that. I apologize if anybody has questions. Oh wait, no, there's one more. Lisa actually emailed me that you had a question about yours.
You know what? I think you're probably going to answer it. And I figured out that I've just been trying to work from my cell phone because my printer broke.
Yeah.
I just can't see, right? So, oh, it's like, oh, no wonder. So, yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I think that is a neat painting.
Oh,
I really like it. I love your broken brush strokes. I love your movement. The only thing maybe I don't love as much is that this feels very flat and this feels very flat, but it actually
Yeah.
does bother me because everything else is so unstructured and loose. I almost don't want you to do any more on this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Spontaneity is beautiful.
Sign it.
Cool.
what?
If you do anything, I would say, some palette knife and some really loose brush work.
Yeah, maybe to bring some texture. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to refine anything, but I love
Me too. That's beautiful.
the brush
Yeah,
work.
you got a lot of energy going on there.
Yeah, there's some magic in here. I just
Mhm.
soft and gestural and a lot of calligraphy going on. I think you and Michelle both have innate underpainting looseness that sometimes I'm just like, oh, I know this is the underpainting and I know it's going towards something. I'm like, do it again. Don't paint on this one, Lisa, unless you want to do a little bit maybe to the rocks. But
Okay.
I think that if you want to do this painting more, do it again.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Yay, Lisa.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Very
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, sometimes I think like there's some of you guys that having less time and maybe having a bad reference like you did where you were squinting at it and not seeing
Oh,
maybe that helped you.
maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, lovely. All right, with that, we
Thank
are
you.
going to take a break. And there's my commission that I'm working on back there.
Nice. Beautiful.
Hey, those are not
So
seagulls,
nice.
those are kids and a dog. And they're not
Very
ghosts, they're just
peaceful.
not painted yet. So
I was
anyways,
going to ask you where the people were because I saw you draw them in on Thursday.
yeah, I've just been
Was it a
painting
little white mark?
all around them. I'm gonna have to like really draw back in because I put so much paint over the top. And now I want to bring the clouds because I wanted to figure out the clouds. So now I need to bring those reflections down. Some of those lights of the clouds into the wet sand here. But yeah, anyways, let's take a little bit longer of a break and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna glaze a little 9x12 or 8x10, whatever it is. And it's gonna be glazing plus a little bit more of an direct approach. And we're gonna see where we're at with that. Otherwise, right behind that tripod is the painting that I was going to see if I couldn't introduce the concept of transparency in this corner of rocks. And then I was gonna go back in and kind of refine things, but I
Good.
just don't know if we'll have time, just because we do have a guest here and I do have an appointment at 1. So we'll see where we're at.
Bye.
All right, so 10 minutes, you guys. I need to go get some coffee. I've been empty for the whole class. And all right, so 11, just right before 11:30 for you PST people, Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
We'll see you in a bit.
Okay. Bye.